the stuff on the floor.
Take them out.
I'd like to see you make me.
I think that can be arranged.
But I think I deserve to know where my son is.
I believe you do. He's with some friends of mine at the ranger station. He's being well cared for, believe me.
You might as well come out, Julie.
Nothing there. Look for yourself. Nothing wrong with tonight's job, I hope? Certainly not. Everything will proceed as planned.
Everything points to Gaunt Castle as a starting place for an investigation.
Then let's get the police. Tear the place apart and make Abel Bellamy talk.
That's impossible, Mr. Howard. Abel Bellamy is a respected citizen, a man of wealth and position. We must have him proved.
The boss was right. That dick is followable. Well, that's nothing to worry about. Here, signal number 7.
Magnificent. Better than I expected. This is a hole worthwhile.
All right. Break it down. We cut the stones, melt the settings as usual. Get at it so we can cash in on them.
Righto.
Why, this is the key to the castle. I'll get there.
Wait a minute. You know, that's better. Maybe some kind of a trick.
But it might not be. According to the family legend, the green object survived it.
Better get out of here, quick.
Yet another week, another installment of the ever-popular fan base growing by leaps and bounds. Scotty J Show the Trash. I'm your host, Scotty J. We're gonna launch right into it. You saw the classic western cliffhanger trailer that I've been doing every show this season, and we're gonna launch right into the first block here called Roadshow Relics. What this is, it's basically 30s and 40s exploitation trailers, stuff that was geared more toward the parents than the kids, but we're going to launch into an Ed Wood favorite. One of his better films, technically, because it didn't rely on a lot of his pseudo-special effects, shall we say. A little film called Jailbait, followed by another marijuana-infused film, another shockumentary trailer, shall we say, called Assassin of Youth. And then, gee, what a coincidence, 2 out of 3 in this block. I'm just looking at it now. But rounding out this block is it was to have been a George Weiss production, but he actually sold the script to one young Ed Wood. The trailer you're going to see here was to become, ultimately, Leonard Glenda. I got my grubby little mitts on the original trailer with just a couple of the Ed Wood scenes inserted. The original title for the movie by Mr. George Weiss, I Changed My Sex. So let's launch into these. We'll be right back.
Jailbait, the shocking story of boy crazy girl and gun crazy guy.
What makes you think you can get away with this?
Let us worry about that, bud.
I'm through for the night, Mac. I'll be on my...
The the most feared of our modern underworld. Men who hate the law and abuse even those they love.
So what's with him?
Hey, shot his first cop.
Siren-screaming, bullet-blazing thriller, Jailbait.
"17 out of 37 of the murderers, 13 out of 145 forgers, 15 out of 125 cases of assault and battery were addicts of marijuana. But I'm afraid that my words will not impress you. So allow me to give you a few scenes that I know will have a lasting impression."
I saw her standing on the 8th-story ledge. She jumped. It's a plain case of suicide, Coroner.
Suicide to most everyone, but to me it's murdered by marijuana.
Hold that leg. Here, you better take that. I'll take it. Take that out of your head. Oh, thanks. Hey, Jenny, bring us that coat.
Why, Joan Barry, you're naked.
I fell in the lake, Miss Frisbee. While my clothes were drying, they burned.
A likely story. Barry, I think you should be the first one to know. Your daughter Joan drove into my house in the nude.
In the what?
In the nude.
Well, where did she get it?
Where did she get what?
Or what was it you said?
I said your daughter Joan, well, she's running around naked.
You're talking nonsense, Miss Frisbee. Good night.
Now, wait a minute. No credit. Cash customers only.
Here's the color of my money.
Here's mine.
Give me one. Oh, boy, here's mine. I can hardly wait. Wow, isn't that good? I've been waiting for this for all day. One more, or I'll be floating.
Give me a reefer. I haven't got any more. Where can I get one? See that fellow behind me? Get him from him.
I've had a terrible dream. People were trying to hack off my arms. They were sneaking around, trying to kill me.
Marijuana, the assassin of youth, the scourge of our country, is reaching out like a mad killer, mowing down the youth of our land, distorting their minds and leading them into lives of degradation and crime. This evil has struck here, Your Honor, right in your own homes, and has turned innocent play into tragic orgies. Why, at this very moment, your courtroom is filled with smokers of this terrible weed.
Your daughter is a psychopathic case. She is on the verge of insanity. She has marked symptoms of drug addiction, and I strongly believe she has been using marijuana.
Marjorie! Marjorie!
Join the happiest party in town at our bell-ringing New Year's Eve show. Father Time will get the heave-ho, and we'll usher in the new year 1953 with the happiest whoop-it-up welcome you've ever seen. You'll see a great, joyous screen show. You'll laugh, you'll scream, you'll roar with delight. It's going to be a riot of fun. So spend your New Year's Eve with us.
The homosexual, it is true, at times does adopt the clothing or the makeup of a woman to lure members of his own sex. But this is not so for the transvestite. The transvestite is not interested in those of their own sex. The clothing is not worn to attract the attention of their own sex, but eliminate themselves from being a member of that sex. Then comes the major surgery, the removal of the man and the formation of the woman. A woman born at the age of 24.
A new life is begun.
The body of the woman within begins to appear now. The world is shocked by a person who changed his sex. Thus, the strange case of Glenn, who was Glenda, one and the same person, not half man, half woman, but nevertheless, man and woman in the same body. He dares to enter the street dressed in the clothes he so much desires to wear. Glenn is engaged to be married to Barbara. Glenn's problem is a deep one, but he must tell her soon. She's begun to notice things. Soon she will realize. He learned that foreign doctors were doing marvelous work with a sex change. Man to woman, woman to man.
Say, did you read about the guy that had his sex changed to a girl? Says he was perfectly normal, too.
How can a guy be normal and go and do a thing like that to himself?
What about their children, Doctor? Would their children become the same way their father is?
Glenda has made the decision. If the newspapers had not gotten hold of the story, it would have gone untold, unnoticed as so many others in medical history. Why is the modern world shocked by this headline? Why?
Do you realize what would happen if every man in the country that wanted to wear women's clothes or felt like a woman went to their doctors and wanted a sex change?
Glenn and all the hundreds of thousands of other Glens across the nation face quite a problem.
So, okay, I changed my sex. Ed Wood bought it for a paltry sum. And because of the title, a lot of theaters refused to play it. So Ed Wood basically changed the title to Glenn or Glenda. A lot of people feel to express his own left-of-center interests / beliefs, etc., etc. And what we're going to be doing, it went on to great success, for Ed Wood for what it was. Ed Wood was for lack of a better term, a wannabe Hollywood director, and he did a lot of the B movies, obviously, but he did what he could with the budget that he had. He wanted to make major productions, but with pocket-change budget, you make the best with what you got. So, with that said, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with the Shiver and Shudder segment with Trailer Trash. Basically, the classic horror films, or not the classic horror films in this case, that went no further than the drive-in theater. They never made it to the big screen, shall we say. Didn't make it to the major chains. Didn't make it to the mainstream theaters. So go grab your popcorn, go grab a cold one, and we'll be right back.
Hot popcorn, just pop. All kinds of candy.
the creamiest ice cream. Popcorn, rich with hot melted butter. Steaming hot coffee. Your favorite cigarettes. To go.
As everyone knows, rainbows usually have a treasure at the end. Let's follow this one and see if we can find the pot of gold.
Father, I suppose you've come to claim me treasure.
Well, we'd like to see the gold first.
Faith, and there's better than gold in here, me lad. No, just look here, no.
Candy, refreshing soft drinks, popcorn, ice cream, piping hot coffee, delicious hot dogs. Well, that's some treasure, but anyone can buy luscious treats like these at the snack bar of their drive-in theater.
You don't tell me. Do you suppose you could get me a job as a snack bar attendant?
Don't look in the basement. The makers of Last House on the Left warn you again. To avoid fainting, keep repeating, it's only a movie. Only a movie. Only a movie. The line between sanity and madness can be crossed in a single step. And with this step, you enter the nightmare world of terror. Judge Cayman, whose iron self-control hides the urge to kill. Harriet, a mother's love, twisted into the malignant shape of evil. The sergeant, living in the hell of an aimless war, fighting a battle within himself that he lost long ago. Allison, in a desperate need for love, an obsession that could drive her to murder. Danny, whose sense of humor triggers a violent act of revenge. Dr. Masters, who has her own idea of the gentle art of healing. And Charlotte, who left the world of sanity and security, only to be trapped in the nightmare world of madness, a nightmare she cannot escape. They all met on the day the insane took over the asylum. Don't look in the basement. From Hallmark Releasing Corporation, rated R.
Within the violent waters that cover this earth comes a mighty motion picture destined to be remembered above all others. Starring John Carradine as the scientist who was deceived by his own fantastic experiments.
Hey, what happened?
I think something's buckling.
Hey! Hey! Can you hear me?
This story of a group of scientists who penetrate the depths of a mysterious ocean brings you underwater thrills and breathtaking excitement as they travel mile after eerie mile through the black waters to ultimately discover the incredible petrified world. See women struggle for survival as they become lost in a world of incredible danger. Caverns explode violently as underground volcanoes unleash their tremendous fury. Suspense, chills, terror, excitement beyond compare. Never has a motion picture captured the amazing story, the gigantic spectacle, the staggering force of the incredible petrified world.
Born 1595, condemned 1630, and buried alive as a witch.
Where did you get that?
This? We found it pinned to a window curtain in Forrester's office.
It's a witch's charm. A devil doll.
Lon Chaney stars as Morgan Whitlock, inheritor of the secrets of the mystic cult.
Vanessa will be angry.
Vanessa?
Yes. She is coming to us. You will see her tonight yourself. At the Sabbath.
On the night of the witch's Sabbath, the Coven of 13 gathers for the Black Mass of Death. Wherever the unwary sleep, beware the terror of the witch's curse. Wherever the infirm struggle for life, beware the doom of the living dead.
This is a new kind of shock on the screen. How many thrills can you take? If your blood curdles easily, don't come. We present two fiendish features. A scream a minute. A nightmare of fiendish horrors. Unbelievable until you see it with your own horror-stricken eyes.
Since I've been here, I've been trying to capture a wolf to extract his glands.
But tell me, Professor, have you ever experimented on yourself?
The new doctor, suspect, beauties, the prey of fiendish desires. A village up in arms.
Look there! Where? At the top of the stairs! Water! Stop, or I'll shoot!
A Nervorama shocker. Warning, this picture is for people with nerves of iron only. Also on the same program, shock, shock, shock. In all history of horror pictures, nothing so shocking on the screen. Corridors of blood.
Mr. Bolton, the committee have decided against holding any further demonstrations.
I tell you, I must have those chemicals.
The bargain's a bargain, eh, Doctor? You keep your end of it, and I'll keep mine.
Corridors of Blood, starring Boris Karloff. Genius or madman? Betta St. John, drawn into the deadly vortex. Finley Curry, who believed at first. Christopher Lee, the killer known as Resurrection Joe.
I can't sign that. I don't know how he died.
It's a favor for a favor, Doctor. You want your book? Hospitals want bodies.
You take
shock after shock after shock. Don't hold in your terror. Shriek if you must. A Nervorama shocker. This picture is not for timid souls.
Last call for refreshments, folks. Go right this second to get something good to eat and drink to enjoy now or during the rest of the show. The finest quality ingredients are in the fixins of the delicious foods you'll find waiting to tempt your appetite at the snack bar. Extra special good hamburgers, wonderful donuts, ice-cold, thirst-quenching drinks. Pizza generously sliced, steaming hot, fresh coffee, ice cream in many flavors. Showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
Jim Rex? What's Jim Rex? Would you believe a movie audience guide presented as a public service by this theater's management to help you select your motion picture entertainment? Well, that's what it is. And we urge you to learn these rating symbols and use them as a guide for you and your family. G means suggested for general audiences, all ages. M, suggested for mature audiences, parental discretion advised. R, restricted, persons under 16 not admitted unless accompanied by parent or adult guardian. X, persons under 16 will not be admitted. This seal in advertising indicates that the film was approved under the Motion Picture Code of Self-Regulation.
One sunny summer day, 154 people set off across America. The result, Medicine Ball Caravan. Medicine Ball Caravan. It's a trip.
San Francisco, Mono Lake. Warm Springs, Zion National Park. Jacob Lake, Pleasant Valley.
I just had a great thought. We may be dubbing the toilet as we go along.
On the front bus, we have the sign that we have just written on carelessly today, but we'll do more elaborately tomorrow. It just says, "We have come for your daughters."
Gallup, Placitas, Sioux City, Moline, Yellow Springs.
I'm the king of the world. I'm a king, you know, I just eat and sleep. I don't do nothing but eat and sleep. I'm a hobo.
Pueblo, Boulder, Kearney.
I'm a cowboy. Not a Hollywood cowboy, I'm a real cowboy. I just happened by, but I really enjoy these people.
What do you call these people with long hair? What do you call them?
Well, I don't have a name for them. I think maybe they're rebels, like myself.
What's your hobby?
Women.
party in every bottle of NoCal. Nothing to it but flavor. A great party in every bottle of NoCal. 11 hearty flavors. 11 hearty flavors. There's a party in every bottle of NoCal. NoCal.
Yes, there's a party in every bottle of NoCal. The first, the finest sugar-free soft drink. Now, better than ever, bubbling over with 11 of the breeziest, liveliest flavors. From ginger ale and lemon to black cherry and cola. Quality flavors that tickle your taste, yet add nothing to your waste. All in no deposit, no return bottles. Daytime, nighttime, kid and grown-up time. There's a party in every bottle of NoCal. And don't forget, for picnics and beach parties, NoCal also comes in quick-chilling, easy-to-carry cans. NoCal.
And for Kool-Aid a go-go. First you shake like a package when you hear this tune. Doing it cool, the Kool-Aid cool. The next thing you do is spin like a spoon. Doing it cool, the Kool-Aid cool. Now you put on this happy smile and drink your Kool-Aid bunny style. Doing it cool. The cool, Kool-Aid cool. You can make Kool-Aid all by yourself, especially new pre-sweetened Kool-Aid. You don't even have to add sugar. You just shake like a package, then you spin like a spoon. Doing it cool, the Kool-Aid cool.
Now you put on this happy smile.
And you drink your Kool-Aid bunny style.
Doing it cool, the cool, Kool-Aid cool.
Take your pick, kids. Regular Kool-Aid or new pre-sweetened Kool-Aid. They're both
Cool, Kool-Aid cool.
Hey, Hyper! Everybody dig it all night long. On the horizon, everybody's roogie-doogin' all around, roogie-doogin'. I give you all my money, I give you all my love. I never leave you, baby, I'll forever talk above, love me, baby. She's the one house, go, 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 go. Heard about my baby, she's a sweet rocky mama, baby, there. She's my baby, 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 baby. The second there'll be hell. The fifth day you'll wake up and say, the world's real. Go! Rock and roll, you sinners, sing to save your soul.
He traveled the world, listening to the musical heartbeat of people everywhere, learning and singing their songs.
When you gotta go, you gotta go. When you gotta go, you gotta go, go, go.
Folk songs he learned from the best.
Freight train, going so fast. I don't know what train he's on. Would you tell me where he's gone?
In the banana boat country, he heard Calypso where it was born.
When she called for some bread, I nearly fell dead, 'cause I only had 15 cents.
And he came home with his head and heart full of songs that captivate all who hear.
My true love, will it be you?
Tommy Steele, the living true story of teenage triumph. The 19-year-old who has found favor in every nation that's had a chance to know him. He's got the whole world rocking.
We're gonna have a teenage party. We're gonna have a teenage time. We're gonna make it hard and hard.
Replace the speaker and heater on the post when you leave the theater.
Oh, I float through the air with the greatest of ease, with or without the flying trapeze. My act is so great, gravity I defy, 'cause I drink T-O-D-D-Y.
Yes, Toddy, the chocolate malt in a can.
Get it, everybody. It's time to drink your chocolate toddy.
Mmm, delicious.
So in closing, no, I'm just kidding. But what we're going to do now, first I got to give a couple shout outs. Obviously, Northwest Community TV at nwct.org on the website. And please, by all means, let us know what you think of any and all the programming here at Northwest Community Television. We've got a lot of producers expressing themselves in various ways, informing, educating, and entertaining. 533-1710 is your response line. You'll see that right across the bottom of your screen. And please let everyone here know what you think. I got to give a shout out to Something Weird Video, somethingweird.com. It's their website. I got to thank them for giving me all these trailers these last 4+ seasons. And finally, one John Hanson for jumping on the bandwagon as my set designer this season, and hopefully in forthcoming seasons as well. But we're going to launch into probably the cult favorite of trailer trash. And that being the Classroom Classic. I have one dedication this time around. Classroom Classic's got to go out to 3 different people this time around. Got to go out to my good friend Donna. Also, 2 people that were instructors in my high school, the old Cooper High School class of 1984. Okay, just have to date myself anymore. One, Harvey Weiss, my mass media teacher, and Jeffrey Phillips, my film study teacher. It's partly their fault that I decided to do this show and subject you guys to Classroom Classics, but other than that, that's all I got to say this time around. Coming up in future weeks, we're going to be launching into the second half of Trailer Trash for the season, and something very special for the entire second half of Trailer Trash, season number 5. We're going to be giving tribute to, for lack of a better term, the king of the drive-in movie. Think mid-60s, think entertainer, think money-grubbing manager, think money-grubbing film producer. We'll leave it at that, but until next time around, Scotty J on the out, Scotty J Trailer Trash. We'll see you next time around.
Like Frank, do you blurt out invitations? Actually, Helen is glad to receive the invitation, and Frank is surprised. Getting dates is not hard if one will act with a bit of courage and show himself to be sincere. A week before the prom, Jerry asks Margaret to help Frank by finding out what Helen intends to wear to the dance. But Frank isn't thinking far enough ahead to realize that he will soon be selecting a corsage for Helen, and that the corsage should harmonize with the color of the dress to be worn. He should also find out the type of corsage she prefers. So Jerry steers Margaret into a discussion of corsages. She recalls the ones she likes best: gardenias, spring flowers, an orchid once, camellias. She and Jerry have been dating for a long while. She appreciates the good taste he has shown in choosing flowers that suited her dress and complexion. The wearing of flowers on the wrist, the shoulder, or in the hair is a matter of preference. When Frank finally asks Helen about her preferences, she is glad to tell him that she likes all types of corsages and all flowers except gardenias. All the other preparations for their double date are also talked over. The night of the prom, Frank is glad that the dance is semi-formal and that the wearing of a tuxedo is optional. But even with a dark business suit, so Jerry insists, the color of the tie should be conservative. The socks should match the tie, not clash with it. We dress according to the occasion. A dignified occasion requires dignified clothes. As a matter of convention, men wear dark clothing at formal or semi-formal affairs. Thus, perhaps they allow the ladies, by contrast, to be more colorful in their dress. This tie may not seem conservative by your standards, but it seems to be the mildest that Frank owns. Perhaps for the next dance he will buy a quieter pattern, something that won't compete with the colors he expects the girl to be wearing. In that sense, he will be showing consideration for her, a gesture of friendliness. And that is what etiquette really is, doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. Correctness in dress, like other matters of etiquette, is something which has to be learned. One needs to check on himself and inquire from those who know what is correct. Of course, women usually receive more training than men in the etiquette of dress because of its importance to their appearing always to best advantage. But girls have their problems just as fellows do, and what they think is in good taste may not be. Naturally, everyone thinks that what he or she likes should be considered correct. But most girls are inclined to overdress. Even the word of parents is not always accepted. Mother is called old-fashioned. But Margaret will take Helen's word for it that she is wearing too many ornaments. Simplicity is always the safest policy in ornamentation. Correctness of dress for an occasion includes not only the choice of gown and slippers, but the hairdo and the accessories, the jewelry, and, yes, the face makeup. The rules are simple, logical, and easy to remember, and they are very important. Frank doesn't look happy, and he isn't. But how much of his fearfulness is actually a lack of confidence in his manners? Whether he admits it to himself or not, his unsureness is painful and is already interfering with his enjoyment of the date. His wanting to blow the horn for Helen instead of going into the house to meet her parents and to escort her out is really not shyness, but a sign that his manners are weak. He hasn't taken the trouble to learn how to meet people easily. Helen tries to introduce him first to her mother, who has risen to shake hands with him. Ladies are always introduced first, and they may offer to shake hands or not as circumstances warrant. Frank forgot that he should present the corsage to Helen at home, so that she may put it on there if she prefers, rather than carrying it to the dance. Notice that Jerry acknowledges the introduction to Helen's mother with a nod, since she elected to remain seated and did not offer to shake hands. Frank shouldn't open the corsage box, but allow Helen that pleasure. Since Helen does not wish to put the flower on now, Frank should take care of it and see that it is not damaged. But give him credit for assisting Helen with her wrap. Helen's parents are glad to have met the boys with whom she is going out. And on the boys' part, meeting the parents is a minimal courtesy as well as a pleasure. Good manners never interfere with fun. They should be habits. And habits of correctness are just as easy to learn as bad habits. Correctness has the real advantage of allowing one always to be at ease. Jerry has been here often and is right at home. However, the ease with which he enters into a conversation is based on his genuine interest in other people and what they are thinking. Meanwhile, Frank is laboring to interest Helen in what is his, not her, chief interest, sports. Margaret is careful not to keep Jerry waiting. She doesn't believe that keeping a fellow waiting a long time will allow her a more dramatic entrance and thus increase his interest. Rightly, she depends on the charm of her personality to hold his attention, not upon little games. So that Jerry feels he is dealing with her true self at all times. The phone call is from one of those fellows who wait until the very last minute to try making a date. Jerry can laugh at his would-be competitor. Margaret is gracious, of course, but brief. There is no excuse for last-minute requests for a date. No girl is flattered at the idea that she hadn't already received an invitation. Besides, a lot of the fun in dating is in the anticipation. And right now, they are well along in their fun. But Frank and Margaret have problems with conversation. Margaret has tried to talk about the dates she has had with other fellows. She meant only to be entertaining, but such topics irritate rather than interest. Perhaps, she and Frank hope, the dance will furnish better topics. Now they have arrived, and all the fun they hoped for lies ahead. Dances are intended for enjoyment, and the rules of etiquette which apply to dances are, again, customs which have grown out of one person's anticipating the wishes and feelings of others. A gentleman doesn't dash off just because he sees a friend and wants to say hello. He waits as his lady removes her wrap. He allows her time to pin on her corsage and powder a bit if she wishes. He saves her any feeling of being deserted or of possible embarrassment in entering the dance unescorted. Ladies expect and appreciate such courtesies, just as they enjoy the thoughtfulness shown in presenting them with a well-chosen corsage or enjoy being properly escorted. In meeting their hosts and hostesses, Margaret isn't always as aware as she should be of Jerry's attempts to escort her smoothly. And if Frank realized that his awkwardness, in contrast to Jerry, is due to his not being sure about introductions, he would learn the simple rules in a hurry. Introduce a man to a woman, a younger woman to an older woman, a younger man to an older man. The name of the person to whom deference is shown is always mentioned first. The person who is to be introduced waits until the introduction is made, and then waits for the other to offer his hand. Only a few friendly remarks are made. After greeting the sponsors, the first thing that Jerry sees to is that they select a rendezvous so that they will have a definite place during the evening for meeting after dances. Then they begin filling in their dance programs. When programs are filled out in advance, and then one or two couples don't attend after having exchanged dances, the programs are left with gaps that are hard to fill. So it is perhaps better to wait until dances can be exchanged with those friends who are present. Then the dances that have been promised can be written in. The purpose of the program is not to exclude others, but the opposite, to plan for exchanging as many dances as possible. In that way, everyone dances with his friends and makes new friends. It is not a mark of affection for a couple to try dancing the entire evening by themselves. For after a while, they tire of their exclusiveness, and then each one fears to hurt the other's feelings by wanting to dance with someone else. It is customary, though, for a couple to reserve for themselves the first and last dance. Frank forgets it and has to be straightened out. But now that they have gotten to dancing, let's hope that their troubles are the way they have hoped. However, let us watch to see if their enjoyment depends in part, at least, on their manners. All that they ask is that they be allowed to talk and to dance, to be with their friends, and enjoy each other's company. No, Frank, hold the cup yourself as you fill it, then present it. Getting jealous? They're only enjoying themselves. Keep trying, Frank. Be sensible, Margaret. Frank, you're wrong. She hasn't lost interest in you. It's foolish to be jealous. It's your own fun you're spoiling. As the dance is drawing to a close, and it is time to say goodnight to the sponsors, everyone seems to have had a good time, except Frank. The dancing hasn't worked out as he and Margaret hoped. But Jerry and Helen are at fault, too. They have allowed Frank and Margaret to become jealous. Of course, they aren't justified. Margaret made the mistake of trying to be too entertaining. Frank allowed his fears to make him wooden. People never like to blame themselves, so they blame others. All that either needs to do is to learn how to be natural and talk of what is interesting to the other person as well as to himself. Meanwhile, a good deal of the fun has gone out of the evening. Even though Margaret pretends that nothing has happened and all is well. Naturally, we all learn through experience, but that is usually the long and the hard way. We can learn much faster and save ourselves from being hurt so often if we realize that our social lives are filled with problems of etiquette, and that these must be studied. We must observe our own behavior, compare it with what is proper, and be certain that our habits are correct. Jerry's example in suggesting to Margaret a dish that she might like is one that Frank might follow. As he finally realizes, since it tells Helen in a nice way how much he can afford to spend. This saves embarrassment all around. At last, Jerry is becoming aware that Frank and Margaret are not having a good time. He doesn't ignore the situation, but brings the problem out into the open. Margaret and Frank are forced to admit their own foolishness. After all, Helen and Jerry had simply been at ease during the dance and enjoyed themselves. they hadn't been any the less interested in their partners. There was absolutely no reason for jealousy. You notice that Frank is becoming more alert. He orders for Helen correctly. And maybe we can hope that he has decided to turn over a new leaf. This way is more fun. The meal has been happy. And now that everyone is happy again, the date is moving along as it should. The mistakes that have been discovered won't be repeated. And those that haven't yet been discovered will come to light as they pay more attention to their manners. But already they have learned some valuable lessons, Frank particularly. He has learned to begin with that he shouldn't let his fears stop him from asking for the date in the first place, and that he should ask right away, not fret about it. He is glad now that he learned a little more about selecting a corsage and about how he should dress. To learn how to be easy during introductions and in making ordinary conversations. But you saw that he was quick to pay the bill, including a 10% tip, and that he found it pleasant to help Helen with her wrap. On the way home, there are no problems. They are happy in knowing that this is just the beginning of happy times ahead. Jerry not only sees Margaret home, but opens the door for her. And then, well, they've been going steady for some time now, and there are some customs that are very enjoyable. But now Frank has a new problem. Should he try on a first date? He makes certain that he helps Helen from the car correctly. She waited properly for him to come around the car. He sees her to her door and thanks her for having gone out with him. And he remembers to open the door for her. He should not try to kiss her goodnight, not on a first date. But he does ask her for another date soon. Helen is quite happy to accept, so their first date is a definite success. Our ending is only a beginning of other dates to follow, of a new attitude toward manners.